The slap echoed through the dining room like a gunshot. Marcus felt his cheek burn, not from pain, but from the shocked gasps of his children. 7-year-old Bella dropped her fork. 10-year-old David's eyes went wide with tears. But what crushed Marcus wasn't the violence. It was watching his wife, Jennifer, freeze for 3 long seconds before saying the words that would end their marriage. You provoked him. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to where it all started to crack. Have you ever trusted someone so completely that you ignored every warning sign? Ever loved so hard you became blind? Stay with me, because what Marcus discovered will make you question everyone you think you know. And before we dive in, if you've ever felt invisible in your own life, hit that like button. Subscribe, because this story has a twist you won't see coming. Trust me, 6 months earlier, Jennifer Hayes stood in the glass-walled conference room on the 14th floor, watching the city below like a queen surveying her kingdom. She just closed a Miller account. $3 million in one handshake. The biggest deal Carter and Associates had seen in 5 years. You're a beast, Jen. Her colleague Sarah hugged her tight. They're definitely making you VP now. Jennifer smiled, but her mind was already racing ahead. VP meant more money, more respect, more power. She texted Marcus. Close Miller. Celebrating with team. Home late. His reply came instantly. That's amazing. So proud of you. Kids, and I will save you dinner. She barely read it before sliding her phone away. Marcus. Sweet, simple Marcus. He'd been a good husband once, back when they were both starting out, both hungry. But somewhere along the way, he'd just stopped climbing, stopped wanting more. Now he worked from home doing consulting for small businesses, picked up the kids from school, cooked dinner, and seemed perfectly happy with that small life. Jennifer wanted more. She deserved more. Drinks. Michael Chin appeared at her elbow. Michael, the consultant brought in 3 months ago to fix the company's struggling tech division. Tall, sharp-suited, with eyes that saw right through people's lies. Just one, Jennifer said. 1 drink became 3. 3 became dinner. Dinner became a kiss in the parking garage that Jennifer told herself meant nothing, but it meant everything. Meanwhile, across town, Marcus tucked Bella into bed, smoothing her wild curls away from her face. Daddy, when's Mommy coming home? Soon, baby. She's working hard to take care of us. You work hard, too, Bella said, yawning. You helped Mrs. Chin fix her store today. Marcus smiled. Mrs. Chin owned a small grocery 3 blocks away, struggling with debt and bad bookkeeping. Marcus had spent his afternoon reorganizing her accounts, setting up a sustainable payment plan, and connecting her with a supplier who'd give her better rates. She'd tried to pay him. He'd refused. This was what he did, quietly helping people who couldn't afford fancy consultants. His father had taught him that wealth meant nothing if you didn't use it to lift others. His father. Marcus walked to his home office and opened a locked drawer. Inside sat a folder he hadn't touched in years. Documents that proved he owned 65% of Carter and Associates, the company where his wife worked, the company she thought was owned by some mysterious investment group. His father, Richard Hayes, had built Carter and Associates from nothing. When he died 5 years ago, he'd made Marcus promise something. Keep your ownership quiet. No one, not even your wife, needs to know. I want you to see people's true hearts. Power reveals character. Son. Sometimes absence of power reveals even more. Marcus had honored that promise. He'd signed the papers creating a complex trust structure. To the world, to Jennifer, to everyone, he was just Marcus Hayes, the modest consultant who'd married above his station. He'd wanted Jennifer to love him for himself, not for his money or power. And for 10 years, he believed she did. 3 months before Christmas. The affair wasn't secret to everyone. David, Marcus's 10-year-old son, saw his mother kiss Michael in the parking lot after school one day. He'd gone to surprise her at work, walked out at just the wrong moment. He didn't tell his father. He was 10. He didn't have words for the sick feeling in his stomach, the way his whole world tilted sideways. Instead, he started acting out, picking fights at school, refusing to eat dinner. What's wrong with him? Jennifer asked one night, barely looking up from her laptop. Marcus sat beside David's bed, patient. "Buddy, talk to me. Is Mom going to leave us?" The question hit Marcus like ice water. "What? No. Why would you think that?" David's eyes filled with tears. "She's different now. She doesn't look at you the same." Marcus pulled his son close. "Sometimes adults go through hard times, but we'll figure it out. I promise." He didn't know then that David had seen the truth, that his 10-year-old son was carrying a burden too heavy for his small shoulders. 2 months before Christmas, Jennifer started working late every night. Michael's division was in crisis. That was her excuse. She'd come home after kids were asleep, eat the cold dinner Marcus left for her, and fall into bed without conversation. The distance grew like frost creeping across a window. Marcus tried. He'd suggest date nights. She was too tired. Counseling. She was too busy. Could they just talk about what Marcus? Everything's fine. But everything wasn't fine. Jennifer was authorizing expense reports she barely read. 5-star hotel rooms for client meetings. First-class flights. Catered dinners. Michael would slide the papers across her desk, hand lingering on hers, and she'd sign without thinking. She was falling, not just into an affair, into something darker, a version of herself she didn't recognize. Someone who justified lies. Someone who looked at her husband's kindness and saw weakness. Sarah noticed. "Jen, I know it's not my business, but Michael's reputation isn't great." "What reputation?" "He's been through 3 companies in 2 years. Always leaves right after landing some big deal, usually with a generous severance. There are rumors." "Rumors aren't facts, Sarah." But Jennifer didn't ask what rumors. She didn't want to know. 1 month before Christmas, Marcus found a credit card statement. A hotel room charge downtown, expensive, on a Tuesday afternoon when Jennifer said she'd been in back-to-back meetings. He sat at the kitchen table, staring at the paper, feeling his whole world crack apart. He could have confronted her, could have demanded truth. Instead, he called his lawyer. Daniel Patterson had been his father's attorney. Now a man who'd kept Marcus's secret for 5 years. "Daniel, I need you to look into something." "Anything, Marcus." Jennifer's expense reports at Carter and Associates. "And look into Michael Chun, the consultant she's working with." "You think there's something going on?" Marcus closed his eyes. "I know there's something going on. I just need to know how bad it is." 3 days later, Daniel called back. "Marcus, you need to see this in person." Daniel's office. The document spread across the table told a story Marcus didn't want to believe. Embezzlement, hidden accounts, fake vendor contracts. Michael had been systematically stealing from the company for 3 months, and Jennifer had signed off on everything. "She might not know," Daniel said carefully. "These are sophisticated. She could be getting played. Or she could be in on it." Marcus's voice was hollow. "There's more." Daniel slid over another folder. "Michael and Jennifer are planning something. There's been communication with outside investors about forcing a company sale. If they pull it off, they'd personally pocket about $4 million between them." Marcus felt sick. This wasn't just betrayal. This was theft from his father's legacy, from the 200 employees who depended on Carter and Associates for their jobs. "What do you want to do?" Daniel asked gently. Marcus stared at the papers. His father's voice echoed in his head. "Power reveals character. Give me a week. I need to think." 2 weeks before Christmas, Marcus started moving pieces quietly. He activated old board contacts, people who'd worked with his father, who'd always wondered about the silent investor who never voted, never attended meetings. He arranged for a forensic audit. Discreet, thorough. He moved money around, ensuring that if everything fell apart, his children would be protected. And he watched his wife. Really watched her. She'd smile at dinner, praise the meal, ask the kids about their day, all while texting Michael under the table. She'd kiss Marcus goodnight, mechanical and cold, then disappear into the bathroom for hushed phone calls. The woman he'd loved for 15 years was gone. Or maybe she'd never existed. Maybe he'd been so busy seeing what he wanted to see that he'd missed who she really was. 1 week before Christmas. "I want to host Christmas Eve," Jennifer announced at dinner. "The whole family. Your sister, my parents. Make it special." Marcus looked up, surprised. That's great, Jen. The kids would love that." Bella and David cheered. For a moment, Marcus let himself hope. Maybe she was coming back to them. Maybe this was her way of trying to fix things. "I'll invite some people from work, too," Jennifer added casually. "Sarah, maybe Tom from accounting. And Michael. He doesn't have family in the city. Seems cruel to make him spend Christmas alone." And there it was. Not reconciliation. Performance. "Whatever you want," Marcus said quietly. Jennifer smiled. "It'll be perfect. You'll see." Christmas Eve, the day it all ended. The house looked beautiful. Jennifer had hired decorators. Expense be damned. And the dining room glowed with candles and gold tinsel. 20 people crowded around the table, laughing, drinking, celebrating. Marcus carved the turkey, served the wine, made small talk with Jennifer's parents, who'd never quite approved of him, the man their daughter had settled for. Jennifer held court at the head of the table, radiant in a red dress. "This year has been incredible for me professionally," she announced, wine glass raised. "I've basically single-handedly turned Carter and Associates around. 3 years of losses gone. We're profitable again, expanding, thriving." Michael, seated to her right, raised his glass. To Jennifer, the real force behind the company's success. Sarah caught Marcus's eye across the table. She looked uncomfortable. She knew the truth, that Jennifer's success had come on the back of Michael's schemes. "Honey, you worked hard," Marcus said carefully, "but I'm sure lots of people contributed." "Marcus, please." Jennifer laughed, but there was an edge to it. "I know you don't understand business, but this was my win. Mine." The table went quiet. David stared at his plate. Michael leaned back, emboldened by wine and ego. "Must be weird, man, being married to someone so much more successful than you." "Michael," Sarah warned. "What?" "I'm just saying, Jennifer's out there closing million-dollar deals, and Marcus is what? Helping old ladies with their checkbooks." A few people laughed. Nervous, uncertain laughter. Marcus set down his fork. "I'm proud of what I do." "Really?" Michael's smile was cruel now. "Playing house husband while your wife pays all the bills? That doesn't embarrass you." "That's enough," Marcus said quietly. "Is it?" Michael stood, drunk on power and wine. "Because from where I'm sitting, you're pathetic. A kept man. No ambition, no drive, no." "Sit down, Michael." Jennifer's voice was soft but firm. For a moment, Marcus thought she was defending him, that some piece of the woman he'd married was still there. Then Michael laughed. "You don't give me orders, Jennifer." "Michael, seriously, what's it going to do?" Michael gestured at Marcus. "Stand up to me? Fight back? We all know he doesn't have the spine." Marcus stood. "You need to leave. Now." The table froze. Michael's face darkened. He moved around the table, too fast, too aggressive, and got in Marcus's face. "Make me?" "Daddy." Bella's voice was small, scared. "Michael, please." Jennifer started. That's when Michael's hand shot out. The slap echoed through the dining room like a gunshot. The slap echoed through the dining room like a gunshot. Marcus felt his cheek burn, not from pain, but from the shocked gasps of his children. 7-year-old Bella dropped her fork. 10-year-old David's eyes went wide with tears. 20 people sat frozen, forks halfway to mouths, wine glasses suspended in air. Michael's hand was still raised, his face twisted with alcohol and arrogance. Jennifer sat there, mouth open, face pale. 3 seconds of silence that felt like 3 hours. Then she spoke. "You provoked him." For words that shattered everything. Not, "How dare you touch my husband?" Not, "Get out of my house." Not even, "Are you okay?" You provoked him. Marcus looked at his wife, really looked at her, and saw a stranger. Someone who'd choose a man who just committed violence in front of her children over the father of those children. He didn't yell, didn't cry, didn't throw Michael out. He simply turned to his children. "David, Bella, upstairs." Now. But, Daddy, Bella's voice broke. Now, baby, please. They ran. He heard their footsteps thunder up the stairs, heard Bella's door slam. Marcus turned back to the table. His voice was calm, terrifyingly calm. Everyone needs to leave. Now. Marcus, let's talk about this. Jennifer started. I said everyone. Out. Jennifer's father stood, angry. You can't kick us out of... This is my house. My name on the deed. And I'm asking you to leave. One by one, people filed out, mumbling apologies, avoiding eye contact. Sarah squeezed Marcus's shoulder as she passed. I'm sorry, she whispered. Within 10 minutes, the house was empty except for 3 people. Marcus, Jennifer, and Michael, who stood there smirking like he'd won something. So what now? Michael asked, You gonna cry? Call the police? Good luck proving anything. Marcus walked past him, grabbed 2 suitcases from a hall closet, and headed upstairs. Marcus. Jennifer followed him. What are you doing? He packed the kids' clothes methodically. Toothbrushes, favorite toys, school supplies. His hands didn't shake. His breathing stayed even. Marcus, answer me. He moved to his own room, packed his essentials. When Jennifer grabbed his arm, he stopped. Don't touch me. His voice was so cold that she stepped back. Where are you going? Away from you. You can't take my children. Our children. And yes, I can. You just offended a man who slapped me in front of them. You really think I'm leaving them here with you and him? Him. Jennifer's voice went shrill. Michael's not staying here. Isn't he? Marcus zipped his suitcase. Hasn't he been staying here, Jennifer? In hotel rooms you pay for? In cars you expense? Haven't you been choosing him over us for months? I don't know what you think you know. I know everything. Marcus faced her. Every receipt. Every lie. Every signature you put on documents you didn't bother to read. Jennifer's face went white. What are you talking about? You'll find out soon enough. He grabbed the suitcases. I'm taking the kids to my sister's. You'll hear from my lawyer. Marcus, please, we can fix this. No, Jennifer, we can't, because I just learned something tonight. You don't love me. Maybe you never did. And I'm done letting you hurt our children by hurting me. He walked out of the bedroom. Jennifer followed him downstairs, pleading now. I made a mistake. It's over with Michael. I'll end it. We can go to therapy. Please don't leave. Marcus stopped at the door. Looked back at his wife one last time. You hit me once, he said quietly. Maybe not with your hand, but with every choice you've made, every lie you've told, every time you made me feel small, so you could feel big. I'm not doing this anymore. He walked out into the cold December night with his children. Behind him, he heard Michael's voice. Well, that was dramatic. Then Jennifer's reply, Shut up, Michael. Just shut up. Marcus loaded the kids into the car and drove away from the only home they'd ever known. 2 days later, Marcus sat in his sister Rachel's living room, watching his children play with their cousins. They were being too quiet, too careful, like the world had become fragile, and they were afraid to break it further. His phone buzzed. Daniel's name flashed on the screen. Marcus, we need to meet. Today. Daniel's office, afternoon. The folder spread across Daniel's desk had multiplied. More documents, more evidence, more betrayal. The audit's complete, Daniel said. It's worse than we thought. Marcus closed his eyes. How much worse? Michael stolen close to $2 million over 3 months. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is the sale. Tell me? There's a board meeting scheduled for January 15th. Michael and Jennifer have lined up enough votes to force a sale of the company. They've got outside investors ready to buy at a lowball price. Investors who promise them executive positions in the new structure, plus cash payouts. Marcus felt sick. Who voted for this? Tom Reynolds, Kathy Morrison, and James Park. 3 of the 7 board members. Plus Jennifer and Michael makes 5. That's enough. They don't know I can vote. Nobody knows you can vote. Your father buried that secret so deep that most of the board thinks the shares are held by some untouchable trust. But you have proxy authority. You can show up at that meeting and vote your 65%. You could stop everything. Marcus stared at the papers. His father's legacy. 200 employees who'd lose their jobs if the company got gutted and sold for parts. And his wife, his soon-to-be ex-wife, who'd stolen from all of them. There's something else. Daniel pulled out another folder. Michael's done this before. 3 companies in 5 years. Always the same pattern. Charm his way in, usually through someone with authority. Steal what he can, orchestrate a sale, cash out. He's been investigated twice, but never charged. He's smart, Marcus. He knows how to cover his tracks. But he didn't cover them this time. Because he got greedy. And because Jennifer was signing things without reading them. She handed him access he shouldn't have had. Marcus felt a strange mixture of anger and pity. Jennifer had been used, but she'd also been willing. What about Jennifer? Marcus asked. Does she know the full extent of what Michael's been doing? Daniel hesitated. Hard to say. Some documents suggest she knew. Others suggest she was just reckless. Either way, legally, she's responsible. She authorized the spending. She signed the papers. Could she go to jail? Potentially, if we press charges. But Marcus, Daniel leaned forward. You need to think about what you want here. Revenge? Justice? Or just to protect your kids and move on? Marcus was quiet for a long time. I want the company saved. I want Michael stopped so he can't do this to anyone else. And I want Jennifer to understand what she's done. But I don't want my kids growing up visiting their mother in prison. Then we need to be smart about this. Daniel pulled out a calendar. The board meeting is in 3 weeks. That's when we make our move. But Marcus, once you reveal yourself, everything changes. You won't be invisible anymore. I know. Are you ready for that? Marcus thought about his father, about the promise he'd made, about 5 years of watching people's true characters reveal themselves. Yes, he said, I'm ready. 1 week later, New Year's Eve. Jennifer's calls had stopped after the first 100, so had her texts. Marcus's lawyer had sent divorce papers. The response was silence. But Sarah called him. Marcus, I need to talk to you. It's important. They met at a coffee shop far from Carter and Associates. Sarah looked exhausted. Jennifer's falling apart. She's at work 16 hours a day, barely eating. Michael's, he's different now. Colder. Like now that you're gone, he doesn't have to pretend anymore. Why are you telling me this? Because I think Jennifer's in trouble. Real trouble. She's been asking questions about accounts I can't access. Getting paranoid about audits. Marcus, I think she's starting to realize Michael's not who she thought he was. Marcus sipped his coffee. Said nothing. There's a board meeting scheduled, Sarah continued. January 15th. Word is they're selling the company. Jennifer seems excited, but there's something off about the whole thing. The buyer's some shell corporation nobody's heard of. The price is way below market value. And you're telling me this because? Sarah met his eyes. Because I know who you are, Marcus. His blood went cold. What? I worked for your father. 10 years ago, before Carter and Associates, I was his assistant at Hayes Consulting. I was there when he created the trust structure. I was there when he made you promise to stay silent. She smiled sadly. I've kept your secret all this time, but I think it's time to break it. Marcus set down his coffee cup carefully. Does Jennifer know? No, I never told her. It wasn't my secret to tell. But Marcus, your father built something good, something that helped people. Michael's going to destroy it. And Jennifer's too blinded by ambition to see that she's the one being destroyed. Why do you care what happens to her? She's not your friend. Not really. Because I remember her before all this, before the ambition ate her alive. She was kind once. Funny. She mentored me when I started. I don't know what happened to that person, but I don't think she deserves what Michael's about to do to her. Marcus was quiet. Then, what's he about to do? Sarah pulled out her phone, showed him an email chain she'd accidentally been copied on. Marcus read, and his stomach dropped. Michael was planning to pin everything, all the embezzlement, all the fraud, on Jennifer. When the sale went through and investigators started asking questions, he'd present evidence that she'd acted alone. He'd walk away clean with his payout while she faced criminal charges. She doesn't know? Marcus asked. She has no idea. She thinks they're partners. She thinks they're going to run away together after the sale, live on beaches in Champagne. Sarah's voice broke. She's an idiot, Marcus, but she's about to lose everything. Marcus handed back the phone, sat in silence. Part of him wanted to let it happen, wanted Jennifer to feel the consequences of every choice she'd made, wanted her to understand what betrayal felt like. But another part, the part that had loved her for 15 years, that had made 2 beautiful children with her, couldn't watch her be destroyed without warning. Thank you for telling me, Marcus said finally. What are you going to do? I'm going to save my father's company. What Jennifer does with the information I give her is up to her. January 14th, one day before the board meeting, Marcus called Jennifer. She answered on the first ring. Marcus. Her voice was different, smaller, scared. We need to talk. In person. Is this about the divorce? Because my lawyer said. It's not about the divorce. It's about tomorrow. Silence. Then, how do you know about tomorrow? Meet me tonight. That coffee shop where I proposed. 9 p.m. Come alone. He hung up before she could answer. The coffee shop, 9 p.m. Jennifer looked terrible. She'd lost weight, dark circles under her eyes. Her power suits couldn't hide how broken she looked. She sat across from Marcus, hands shaking around her coffee cup. Thank you for coming, Marcus said. Where are my babies? Can I see them? Soon, when you've gotten help. When you can explain to them why Mommy chose a man who hits people over their father. Jennifer flinched. I'm sorry. Marcus, I'm so sorry. I don't know what I was thinking. You weren't thinking. That's the problem. I'll fix this. I'll do anything. Jennifer, stop. I didn't come here to talk about us. We're over. You killed that. He pulled out a folder. I came here to give you this. She opened it. Read. Her face went white. This is Michael's financial records. His history. How did you get this? Doesn't matter. What matters is what you do with it. Jennifer kept reading. With each page, she looked sicker. He's done this before. 3 times. He's been investigated for fraud. She looked up, tears streaming. He's setting me up. All those documents I signed. He's going to blame me. Yes. I'll go to jail. Probably. My children will grow up knowing their mother's a criminal. Maybe. Jennifer's hands shook so hard she dropped the papers. Why are you showing me this? Why do you care? Marcus was quiet for a moment. Because despite everything, you're still my children's mother. And because I need you to understand something before tomorrow. Tomorrow? The board meeting? Marcus, what? Go to that meeting, Jennifer. Listen to everything Michael says. And then decide who you want to be. He stood to leave. Marcus, wait. I don't understand. Why do you care about the board meeting? You're not. She stopped. Stared at him. You're not even part of the company. Marcus smiled sadly. Aren't I? He walked out, leaving his wife sitting alone with the truth she'd been too blind to see. January 15th, the board meeting. The conference room on the 14th floor was packed. All 7 board members. Michael, looking confident in an expensive suit. Jennifer, pale but present. And 2 lawyers representing the buying group. What no one expected was Marcus. He walked in at exactly 9 a.m., dressed in his father's suit, tailored, expensive, commanding. He carried a briefcase and walked with the quiet confidence of a man who owned the room. Because he did. What's he doing here? Tom Reynolds asked. Michael laughed. Lost, buddy? This is a board meeting. Executive personnel only. Marcus set his briefcase on the table. I'm exactly where I need to be. Jennifer, control your husband, Michael said. But Jennifer was staring at Marcus like she was seeing him for the first time. Can someone explain? Kathy Morrison started. Daniel Patterson walked in behind Marcus. Good morning, everyone. I'm Daniel Patterson, representing the Hayes Family Trust. I believe you all know Marcus Hayes. Of course, Tom said impatiently. Richard Hayes' son. What's this about? Daniel smiled. It's about the fact that Marcus Hayes holds 65% of this company's voting shares and is here to exercise his proxy rights for the first time. The room exploded. That's impossible. The shares are held in trust. No one has 65%. Daniel calmly distributed documents. Here's the trust structure. Here's the original agreement signed by Richard Hayes and filed with the SEC. Here's Marcus's birth certificate and legal documentation proving his identity. And here's the proxy authorization signed by all relevant parties, giving Marcus Hayes full voting rights. Michael's face had gone gray. Jennifer sat frozen, staring at her husband. This is a joke, Michael said. Some kind of bluff. It's not a bluff, Marcus said quietly. My father created this company 30 years ago. When he died, he left controlling interest to me. I've been a silent partner for 5 years, watching, learning, seeing people's true characters. He looked directly at Jennifer. Sometimes you learn things you wish you didn't. Tom Reynolds found his voice. Mr. Hayes, if this is true, then you have every right to vote. But surely you understand the sale we're proposing is in the company's best interest. Is it? Marcus opened his briefcase. Because according to the Forensic Audit Commission, this company has been systematically robbed of $2 million over the past 3 months. And the buyer you're proposing to sell to is a shell corporation that will strip the company for parts, fire all 200 employees, and leave this city with nothing but empty offices. That's absurd. James Park started. Is it? Marcus distributed more papers. Here's the audit. Here are the fake vendor contracts. Here are the expense reports for luxury hotels, first-class flights, and catered dinners that never happened. And here, he placed one final document in front of Michael, is your employment history. 3 companies in 5 years. All of them sold under suspicious circumstances. All of them with fraud investigations that somehow never led to charges. Michael stood. This is slander. I'll sue. Sit down, Mr. Chun. Daniel's voice was ice. Or leave. But if you leave, you'll be met by federal investigators who are very interested in talking to you about wire fraud and embezzlement. Michael sat. Marcus turned to Jennifer. She was crying silently, mascara running down her face. Jennifer signed off on everything, Michael said suddenly. Every contract, every expense report, every document. She's the one with authority. She's the one who... Shut up, Michael. Jennifer's voice was barely a whisper. What? Michael turned to her. Panic now. Baby, you need to back me up here. Tell them you knew. I said, shut up. Jennifer stood, facing him. You used me. You knew I was ambitious and insecure, and you used that. You made me believe you loved me, when really you just needed a signature. Jennifer, how many times, she asked, how many women have you done this to? How many times have you seduced someone with power, stolen what you could, and left them holding the blame? Michael's silence was answer enough. Jennifer turned to Marcus. You're Richard Hayes' son. You've owned this company the whole time. You've been watching me destroy myself, and you never said anything. Would you have listened? Marcus asked gently. If I'd told you 6 months ago, would you have believed me? Or would you have thought I was trying to control you? Jennifer closed her eyes. I would have thought you were lying, that you were jealous of my success. She laughed bitterly. Oh, God, I was so blind. Yes, Marcus said. You were? The room was silent. Marcus turned to the board. Here's what's going to happen. This sale is canceled. Michael Chin is fired, effective immediately, and will be escorted from the building by security. If he tries to fight this, I'll press criminal charges and he'll spend the next decade in prison. Tom Reynolds, Kathy Morrison, and James Park, you're all fired as well. You failed in your duty to protect this company. You can't, Tom started. I can, and I am. Sarah Martinez will be promoted to board, along with 2 other executives I've already vetted. We're going to rebuild this company the way my father intended, with integrity. What about Jennifer? Sarah asked quietly from the doorway. Everyone turned to look at Marcus's wife, who stood there broken and ashamed. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Jennifer authorized fraudulent spending, but I don't believe she fully understood what Michael was doing. She was reckless, not malicious, so I'm giving her a choice. Jennifer looked up, hope flickering in her eyes. You can resign today, quietly, with 6 months severance to help you get back on your feet. Or I can press charges and you'll face the legal consequences of everything you signed. Marcus, Jennifer whispered. But either way, our marriage is over. You'll get fair terms in the divorce. Generous visitation with the kids. I won't poison them against you. But you and I, we're done. Jennifer crumpled into her chair, sobbing. Michael stood, desperate now. You think you're so much better than me? You're just a coward who behind his daddy's money. Marcus looked at him. I'm the man who chose to be nobody so I could see everyone's truth. You're the man who pretends to be somebody while stealing from people who trusted you. He nodded to security. Get him out. 2 guards escorted Michael Chun from the building. He was still shouting threats as the elevator doors closed. The room cleared slowly. Board members filed out, stunned. Sarah squeezed Marcus's shoulder. Your father will be proud, she whispered. Finally, only Marcus and Jennifer remained. I'm sorry, Jennifer said through tears. For everything. For not seeing you. For choosing him. For making you feel small when you were always the bigger person. I know you are. Do you think... She looked up at him with red eyes. Do you think someday maybe we could... No, Jennifer. We can't. She nodded, accepting. Can I see the kids? When you're better. When you got in therapy and figured out who you want to be. They need a mother who's whole, not broken. Will you tell them I'm sorry? I'll tell them you're working on being better. That's enough for now. Jennifer stood on shaky legs, walked to the door, turned back one last time. You were always enough, Marcus. I just couldn't see it. I'm sorry it took losing everything to learn that. She walked out of the conference room and out of his life. 1 year later, Christmas Eve. Marcus's new apartment was smaller than the old house, but warmer somehow. Bella and David were decorating the tree, arguing over where the star should go. Daddy, can Mommy come visit tomorrow? Bella asked. Marcus smiled. If she wants to. Jennifer had kept her promise. She'd gone to therapy, gotten a job at a smaller company. Working her way back up, she'd written him letters, not asking for forgiveness, just updating him on her progress, taking responsibility. They'd never get back together. That bridge was burned. But for the kids' sake, they'd built something new. Respect, maybe. Understanding. The doorbell rang. Sarah stood there with wine and cookies. Merry Christmas, boss. Marcus laughed. I'm not your boss. You're on the board now. We're equals. Fine. Merry Christmas, friend. She came in, greeted the kids warmly. They spent the evening playing games, eating too much food, laughing. Later, after the kids were asleep, Sarah asked, Any regrets? Marcus thought about it. No. Everything happened exactly as it needed to. Your father would be proud. Maybe, or maybe he'd say I waited too long to use my voice. You used it when it mattered most. Sarah raised her glass. To Richard Hayes, and to his son, who proved that silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. They clinked glasses. Outside, snow began to fall on the city. Inside, Marcus Hayes, no longer silent, no longer invisible, was finally truly homed at the end. So what did you think? Was Marcus's revenge justified? Or did he wait too long? Should he have given Jennifer a second chance? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story kept you hooked from beginning to end, smash that like button and subscribe for more emotional, powerful stories. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Share this with someone who needs to hear that being quiet doesn't mean being weak. See you in the next one.